Hi guys, so I've covered this one before, but I'm just going to revisit it really briefly. It's Friday. It's what I call pub tax myths. So basically, everyone's got a mate. Normally his name is Dave, and he basically just asks stupid things. And I'm going to run through some examples that Dave at the pub asks his mate, and it's all to do with tax. So for example, I've once heard someone say, "Can I claim back a Porsche against my tax and get a bigger tax refund?" And his name wasn't Dave, but it's a very Dave-like question in the pub, really. So we're going to run through some examples every week. It's going to be fairly light-hearted, but these are common questions that I've seen asked over a number of years, many of times. So I'm going to start with number one, and I have covered this in the past, but just a bit of a refresher, is can I split my business for VAT? So this is a really common topic that gets brought up. Can I? So your tradesman, typically, this tends to be, not picking on people, but this tends to be a tradesman. You have a business, let's say, I don't know, I'll pick a trade. Let's say you're a carpenter. Your turnover's maybe 75, 80k. You're bringing in some big jobs. You started on your own a few years ago. You're getting close to the VAT limit, which is £85,000. You don't want to go above the £85,000 limit because you've got to charge VAT, which is 20%. Even though you can claim back some VAT in your materials, it's not quite as bad. You're ultimately almost 20% more expensive because you've got to charge Mrs. Smith up the road 20% extra to make the same profit, or you charge her exactly the same amount, but 20% of it, and the fraction actually works at a sixth because what you're now charging is deemed to be with 20% added on. So if you were charging £1,000, that's now 120%. So actually a sixth of it, if you keep the same price, is no longer your money. So whatever way you look at it, whether you add the price on, whether you absorb it within your current prices, you're going to be less profitable because you're more expensive. Some of the money is the VAT man. So one of the common things is, oh, I've got a brilliant idea, so simple, so straightforward. Why don't I split my business? Why don't I open a second carpentry business? And instead of calling it Cheltenham Carpentry, I'm going to call it Gloucester Carpentry or Cotswolds Carpentry. Or whatever town you're in, Manchester Carpentry, Liverpool Carpentry, and I'm just going to split it into two. And that way, I've got two £85,000 limit. So there's an old saying, you don't need to be an accountant or business expert to know this, but there's an old saying, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. And that's purely what it comes down to. So short answer, we'll keep this short and sweet, is no, you can't split your business to avoid VAT because it's artificial separation. You basically... Technically, HMRC would look at that as VAT fraud. You're just trying to do without paying your VAT and keep the money in your pocket and not their pocket. That being said, you can have more than one business, and there can be one that's VAT registered or not VAT registered, but it can't be the same type of business. So let's say, for example, we're a firm of accountants. If I opened a carpentry business, that would be fine. I could start a carpentry business and not worry about VAT at the beginning because it's nothing to do with accounting, but I can't split my accounting business just to avoid paying VAT. So no, Dave, I'm afraid you can't split your business to avoid VAT.